pioneering and distinction of serving students is a deep-rooted target ingrained in the heart of the National Students Welfare Fund. The body provides high-quality and varied services in an incentive environment. The qualified team of the fund offers these services with efficient community partnerships for the students, the long-awaited hope for the future. The strategic visions of the fund 2025-2030 heralded the transition from circles of welfare to the open space of service and development. The fund extends valuable packages of housing services for the students all over the states under the supervision of the government and society leaders. The fund has established and developed its facilities to house more than 190,000 students for both sexes. The fund also maintains more than 250,000 students in addition to direct fund support and free meals. All this is presented in partnerships with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Communications, Chamber of Zakah, trade unions, social and health welfare. The fund always takes care of some society segments such as persons with disabilities, where it provides them with their own requirements. The fund has a substantial role in supporting technical and technological education. On April the 15th, 2023, the Renegade Rapid Support Forces ignited a cursed war in the capital Khartoum. Here appeared the role of the fund to open the doors of its buildings to harbor the displaced families in the secured states, mainly Jazeera and Sinnar, before they were affected by war. These states were Shimaliya, the River Nile, the Red Sea, Kassala, Gadarif, North Kordofan, and the White Nile. 75,000 families were received alongside the students of universities coming from war-affected states. The criminal RSF militia burst into the buildings of the fund, aimed to ruin the facilities, rob the furniture and belongings, and steal the electric cables. The fund officials estimated the redevelopment to exceed $100 million. Before this destruction, the fund, with deep educational experience, assumed and carried out a distinguished matrix to construct what was ruined by war. Immediately, they inaugurated the Student Dignity Festival under the slogan, "Constructing the Sentiment to Build the Sudan." The festival was under the auspices of the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Professor Ahmed Mudawi Musa. The festival has two parts. The first one was the Student Festival supporting the armed forces. The aim was to enhance national values, spread peace culture, and eliminate regionalism. This festival had 4 tracks. Track 1 was educational with all its colors and varieties, and so was the sport track. The third one incarnated the victories of the Sudanese armed forces at battlefields, and there was the cultural side, attended by the member of the Supreme Council, Dr. Nawara Abu Muhammad, and the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research. The second part of this student epic was the construction and reconstruction of housing complexes in the war-affected states. After their liberation, the states of Khartoum, Jazeera, and Sinnar witnessed caravans of services carried out by the National Students Welfare Fund to support the armed forces and the staff of the fund. There were also large-scale maintenance works in the states of Shimaliya and the River Nile. During the cursed war, the fund opened the new University Dignity City 1 in Karima, Shimaliya State. The city, which is number 176 in the chain of housing cities built by the fund, lodges 448 students with full facilities. But after the war, the fund presented ideas and visions to keep abreast to development needed by the country. And here came the student productive projects to help save the study expenditure and promote vocational skills. The fund extends specialized training for students to own minor projects in cooperation with banks.
بداية الحرب السودان من ميليشيا الدعم السريع
At the beginning of the war in Sudan, launched by the RSF militia, the enormous impacts are overall mainly on the National Students Welfare Fund. Large numbers of citizens have displaced to the neighboring countries, but some have internally displaced. The buildings of the fund were the safe haven. More than 75,000 families were lodged. Really, this war has destroyed most of the infrastructure. Also, the furniture and housing equipment have been ruined. Some have been looted. In addition to mobile vehicles and ambulance, even ceilings, doors, and windows. We can say that the initial estimate of the damage is nearly $200 million. This amount generally overpasses the potentials of the fund. We expect most well offs inside and outside the country to boost the fund to reconstruct these housing buildings for the sake of our students. We are waiting rapid reconstruction for these institutions with your help, if it is God's will. After the war, the fund came to inspect its buildings. What happened was that the rogue militia devastated furniture, possessions, and all that pertains to students' infrastructure. The warmth, chanting, exerting guidance, and manifestations of noble life, all that had been into wreckage, debris, and ruins. More than 200 residing cities with complete facilities built by the fund came under systematic damage and deliberate demolition committed by the evil militia. The acts and events of havoc and arson extended to the fund buildings were not only exclusive to Khartoum, expanded in Jazeera, Sinnar, the Blue Nile, and the states of Kordofan and Darfur. Smoke and carbon black charred the beauty of painted walls. Those barbarians changed the dawn of construction to dark night, blanketed the students' buildings, which was once one of Omdurman's most attractive buildings, was robbed, stolen, and spoiled in the broad daylight. Also, the newly constructed city of Al-Zaim Ismail al-Azhari, the scenes of damage speak louder than description. It was once a unique model of private residence in Khartoum North. Hassan Ibrahim Malik City received fusillade of inclement and merciless cannonballs and fatal weapons. As for student buildings established by the fund in Sinnar State, Rab'a al-Adawiya student boarding house did not escape damage. It was bombarded from Jabal Moya. 12 martyrs and many casualties were the victims of the rebellious militia. The same scenes of destruction and ravage were witnessed by the fund buildings in Sinjar city and Abu Hjar. They even looted doors and windows. What is wrong with the furniture and housing equipment? The National Students Welfare Fund did not cry over spilt milk. They instantly resumed sending caravans of development to back the armed forces and to launch first steps of construction for the return of the students. The firm will of the fund continued to prepare these monuments for intellectuals and builders of the glory of Sudan. The fund capitalized the assistance of the government, community partnerships, and beneficence. National Students Welfare Fund considers new strategies depending on the Council of Trustees headed by the Prime Minister, Professor Kamil Tayyib Idris. The aim is to better student services and to supply a residing environment in order to create post-war generations. The fund is waiting an invulnerable generation against violence, regionalism, and racism, and thus the fund is a sprawled soul of the land of Sudan, carrying the loads of the present, overlooking the future gates.